Ntwali, how you feeling, man?
I'm blessed, man. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on the show. You're a guy I really wanted to talk to because I got to see you. Yeah, man, I got to see you live at Station on Jasper, and just the way you interacted with the crowd just made an impression on me, dude. So I just want to jump right into this. I want to talk about how you started going with the rap. Yeah. So how old are you now, and at what point did you start trying to get this rolling?
I'm 23. I started when I was 16. Damn. Yeah, so it's like it's been a long journey, and like it's like far from over, you know? Yeah. So how did it go? Were you just freestyling the beats on YouTube, or? Oh, great question. How did I start? So I'll never forget this. Like, it was like grade 11. I was like probably 5'5" at the time. Like puberty didn't hit me till like grade 12, but I was like 5'5". I wasn't really good at sports. Like so, all my friends around me, like they're like playing sports, like, you know, getting girls and shit. Like, so I was like maybe 110 soaking wet. So I was pretty skinny as well. So like I didn't really have an outlet, you know, to like dish out all this energy. So I was just like, man, I'm waiting for something, you know, like I'm craving for something. And all the while, like knowing that I have a love for hip hop, you know. So I'm at a house party during grade 11. I'm trying to fit in. Everyone's trying to fit in, you know, during this age period. We're at a party. We're just, you know, sipping, doing whatever, you know. And then we're outside, and somebody's like smoking a bogue or whatever. And then somebody looked at me and was like, yo, man, you're black. You could rap.
That's what he said?
Yeah, literally.
Was he black or white?
White, of course.
Of course.
I went to a predominantly white school, you know. Okay. Yeah, I ain't going to name drop just in case I get all cheese and shit. Fair. So like, so they're like, yo, you can probably rap, and like they all laughed, and I'm like, I guess I'll try it, you know. So I freestyled for the first time ever. It was trash. Yeah. It was trash. They laughed in my face, bro.
Did you know? Oh, so you knew it was trash at the time?
Yeah, because I mean, it's my first time, you know? Like, I was just going to try it. So I tried it. They laughed at me, and I was like, man, y'all ain't professors. Y'all ain't coaches. So you guys are my peers. You guys are my age. So I don't think you guys know that. You guys could judge me off that. So it's like, I'm going to do it every day and then prove to you guys that, like, I can actually do this if I want to. And also self-expression, too. Like, expressing yourself so much. Because, like, remember, like, I was trying to find an outlet, right? So to be able to do that for the first time, I was just like, it was like, oh, okay, let me try this, you know?
That's interesting that you had a bad first experience, but instead of letting it make you give up, you wanted to get better. For sure. And, like, even before that, like, my older brother, he's an artist as well. Like, we should share a room. So, like, we just freestyle battle rap each other. But that's just, like, you know, older brother, younger brother. We just, like, you know, playing around. But, like, it never went further than that. Like, he'd always crush me because he's, like, 2 years older than me. Okay. And I was, like, 14. He was 16. And I was always like, man, let me get my turn, you know? So, like, that was that. And then 2 years later was when the first time somebody asked me to freestyle. Wow. Yeah, and then. That's crazy. So what types of rap influences did you have at that time, like before the first freestyle?
Oh, okay, for sure. So growing up, like, my family migrated from Rwanda in 2000. And I was, like, 4 at the time. Okay. So, like, my first interaction with hip-hop, I vividly remember was Nas. He was... it was a song I Can, so it's like I know I can, right. and like I'm like 5 or 6, and on the TV all I see is these little black kids singing that, and I'm like, yo, let me just, you know, like it's very singable hook, so I start singing it. I go up to my mom and I'm like, I know I can, and she looked at me like, boy, you better go back to that dinner table, eat, you know, like. Seriously. So that was my very first one, and then after that it was Get Rich or Die Trying, because he dropped, 2002, 2003? Yep. I remember 50 Cent was everywhere. He was crushing it. Yeah. And I was like...
Video games.
Yeah. Video games. Like,
it's insane.
BT. Yeah. Oh, like, Basement with Ticket, too. Like, I didn't know what they were saying, but, like, it was just so cool to be like, yo, they're literally in the basement just rapping, you know? Like, and I'm like, yo, this is low-key inspiring. The Game, too. Yeah. And then in my later teens, Tupac, Biggie, Big L... of course, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Big Sean, Kid Cudi, Kanye, Jay-Z, Nas, all those guys like influenced me a lot. Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy, man. So you seem to like more of the lyrical, like more thought out rap.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
What are your thoughts on sort of what people would describe as mumble rap or trap?
I used to hate it completely at first until I took the time to realize like artistry is artistry. You gotta respect it, you know, because it took time, you know. Melodies are very good, but it's just not my genre. Like it's very nice to hear for sure. Like especially if you want to go out, turn up, have fun. But one thing to me that it lacks is substance. You know, like I can't like say if I'm raising children, I don't want to be playing mumble rap. I want to play like, for example, I Can by Nas, because like it's just powerful, you know, like the words in there. Like apparently in Oxford they study Nas's lyrics.
No, I believe it. I've heard stuff like that with other rappers, where they like have a course. Like Kanye, there was one based off his mind and all this crazy stuff. Lots of subject matter there. But no, that makes sense. Yeah, like there's definitely a place for the other music, but I mean, personally, as a listener, I connect with the deeper stuff too. Yeah. So that was, I'll take it, the approach that you took.
Yeah, definitely.
Right from the beginning, then.
Yeah, definitely, because I realized like as a listener, it was more pleasing to me. It was more like awesome to just be like, yo, this guy really changed my perspective. Like I remember when I became a heavy Tupac fan, like all of his albums, like yo, there's just such a deep message in there in each song, like pain, passion, like just trying to awaken people, you know. And like sadly it costed his life, you know, because like if you think about it, like if Pac was still here, like it'd be a totally different hip-hop scene, you know, or Biggie as well. But the comparison between those two has been there forever. But one thing that's definitely like separates the two in my eyes is like I said, substance. Like Biggie flow is insane for sure, like definitely like a crazy rapper, probably a better rapper, but the message that resonated with me more was Tupac because of what he was saying, you know.
Right. No, that makes sense. And Pac's message is like a lot more diverse than Biggie's. I think Biggie talks about his personal struggles. Pac talked about the world's struggles. Mothers,
changes. You know, like Brenda's got a baby type. You know, like
insanity.
For real.
So at what point did you say, okay, I'm serious about this now. I'm taking skills from my favorite guys, and I'm gonna try to make my own style.
That's dope. So after the high school party, 16, 17, like I was on a mission. I was like, yo, I'm gonna prove you guys wrong, right? So a whole year straight, just freestyling every single day. The aha moment, the light bulb moment was when we were all chilling. We were probably, you know, like just finished up a hotbox sesh, you know, and everyone's looking at me weird, and I'm like, what's going on? What's on my face, you know? And they're, and they're like, nah, it's you haven't rapped yet. And I was like, what do you mean I haven't rapped yet? Like, and they're like, nah, we actually enjoy it now. It's like, what? You know? So it's like, I was like, man, I've been cultivating this like passion, this love for it. In my mind, I'm just doing it to better myself, and I didn't know other people were starting to appreciate it. So that was when I decided I could do this. And since then, like, all the pieces kind of came to me as I was trying to figure things out. It wasn't like, you know, trial and error.
So it wasn't all like, I guess, and it can never all be at one time where everything's going to come to you. So so you were just rapping every single day?
Every single day. Like, to this day. So sometimes I don't go like a week or two, but like after 8 years you can do that. You know what I'm saying? Like you could just like take a little bit off, but like for a while there, it was every single day for sure. I might even do that again, just because like I want to sharpen my skills to the point where it's like undeniable that like I need to get to where I need to get to, you know.
Absolutely. So what came first for you then? Was it a mixtape song or was it a show? Because I guess that you would have to have songs, but you wouldn't have necessarily released them yet. You know
for sure. So I started my career out on SoundCloud, as everyone else does, you know. 16-year-old me dropped a few songs. They're still there, just to reflect the growth, you know. That's the most important thing. People like to have the perception that like it's an overnight thing, you know. Like I'm nowhere near where I need to be. Like I think I'm very good, but like I'm not great yet. I'm not on that level yet. But if you look at my old stuff, it's like night and day. It's like, whoa, this kid like took, like you could hear it in my voice, in my delivery, the beat selection. It's just like a matured person. It's almost like a different person. Even what I rap about is different, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
Did you find yourself getting, like, what types of things did you rap about before compared to now?
It was more of like young kid, you know, immature, just rapping about parties, smoking up, trying to get shorties. But now, like, I still do here and there now, but like now I'm more cautious and aware of like who's listening and what I can do, because at the end of the day, like people look up to me now, so it's like I gotta guide them in the right path, you know, because all the while I'm trying to figure it out myself, you know. You know,
that's a tough position to be in. It's like I kind of know what you mean. I've seen people in certain you know similar
situations. I've sort of felt that way in sometimes. And you mentioned like the city, how you notice the city of Edmonton is having like a resurgence with art or like a big growth. Any thoughts on that? Because I've been noticing it too. A lot of people are noticing it.
For sure. Yeah. So I would first say when I started out, there wasn't really one. Like besides my brother and his group, Future Concept, they were doing their thing. Had a few shows and stuff, which was very inspiring to me. Now he's in Toronto. But during his time, like during his upcoming as an artist, there wasn't really too much going on. But that was around when I was 18, so like a 5-year period.
Yeah,
it was like I said, like a daily grind, linking up with people, trying to push for that, because it was literally Edmonton before, you know, like and now like every other weekend there's a show. Like on the 13th, there's a band called Good Information. They're playing with another up and coming artist, Arden, and like everyone's just like, everyone's hungry, everyone wants to get it, and that's the beauty of it. I think before people were so caught up on the idea that you have to be in New York, Toronto, LA, and it's like, no, you don't. You like, first of all, you have social media now, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
You can reach the whole world from your phone. Second of all, it's like when you see that, like, it's almost even better that there's no scene here. Like at first, not trying to, you know, but now that there is like a growing thing, it's like we're cultivating it. We're deciding what happens. It's not like already here. Like we're bringing it. We're establishing.
Well, yeah, that's the interesting thing, because like a place like Toronto, somebody going in there now, they're moving into a space where they have an established scene. Here, you can create the scene really and truly, because it's like we have the fringe, we have the comedy community. They're really hungry right now. And one of my favorite things is the comedy community linking up with the music community. That's a really nice growth.
Shout out to Jim Kerr. He's one of those guys doing that for sure. He's in both realms. I'm like, how do you even?
I know, it's crazy. I just hit him up to be on the show. Actually, I'm gonna be on his as well. So
awesome. There you go.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
Scrambled eggs, right?
Yeah. Scrambled Yegs podcast. Shout out Alex. Shout out
Jim. Shout out Alex too, you know?
Yeah.
They're doing their thing.
Good dudes for sure.
For real.
And that reminds me, I actually saw you live for the first time at Station on Jasper at a show with Jim. And one of the things that really stood out to me that night and that set you apart from the other artists on the bill is that you first came on stage and said, "Give me a word and I will freestyle off that word."
Yeah.
Where did that come from? How long until you started doing that in your shows?
For sure. So people, like, when I freestyle, sometimes people don't think it's like a freestyle. They think it's like a written verse. And that's what happens with a lot of these artists nowadays. It's like they just spit a verse on a beat, and it's like, that's awesome. That's totally cool. That's an art in itself. But freestyling, to me, it's derived from like off the top, like conscious flow of thinking on the beat, you know, and like just coming up with random things. So that came about in the sense of, I don't see artists doing that. So I wanted to bring something new to the table, and also remaining myself, because that's how I came up, right? Freestyling. So I want to make sure I stay true to myself and true to the craft. You know? Yeah.
I love that, dude. And it does set you apart, because that's one of the main things that I remember from the night. I'm like, this dude, I've just never seen that done from a local show. I feel like a lot of artists don't have the confidence to be like, yeah, I'm a performer, when they're not in a huge venue. Do you see that? Because I see a lot of people, they have almost an underdog complex. I don't see that with you. You're like, yeah, I can do this.
I was the underdog for a very long time, actually. People like would overlook me in the sense of, like, at first when I started out, like I was saying, I wasn't that good, right? But like they would just be like, okay, this guy's, he has like the ambition, but like he's not there yet. So I would get overlooked, and like anyone else, that would frustrate you, right? So it's just like, I'm gonna show you one day, and like to this day, I like to have that, just like psychologically. I feel like I'm at a disadvantage. I want to work harder. I want to like just stick it to the man, you know?
Absolutely.
So like I'll give you an example. There's these guys, they used to throw shows all the time, and like the first few ones, they had me there. I was like, okay, cool. And then now they started working with high school kids, and then other high school students who have like a large, because like I graduated, right? By that time, like 19 years old. I'm still trying to put myself on. And all these young kids, they have a big pool of people, because high schools are there's like 1,000 kids at some of them, plus.
Yes, plus, yeah.
So they got like a nice pool in their domain, I guess, in their realm. So I would get overlooked, and I'm like, man, like, just wait on my turn. So fast forward, some of the artists that I used to do those shows with those same organizers see me now, and they're like, yo, they left the scene. Like they went and did their own thing, came back like a year ago. Yeah. One of them came to one of my shows. It was sold out, and he was like, is this the same kid that they used to pass up on? You know, it's
right.
like, what blew his mind was just like, yo, he would have never expected that. But the beauty of it all is that nobody really knows what's inside of you. Only you do, and God. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, man.
And that's like where the underdog comes from for me. It's like knowing the type of shit I had to go through to get to this point. It's like it's what propels me, and I still go through some little things here and there, but like not as bad as it was before. But I'm still hungry as hell, you know.
Yeah, and I that's a good thing to use to drive you, because like I say, like the underdog complex, quote unquote. Some people can either use that like you are to fuel them to go forward and to work harder, and then others use it to keep themselves in a box. Like, I couldn't move from where I'm at.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's just part of raising awareness to the fact that, like, yeah, you don't have to be in one of these major cities. You don't have to be. You don't even have to be really any type of person. You just have to be good at what you do
and be yourself. That's the key too.
Yes.
Like my music is like, you could tell like I'm like either a college student or like just somebody who genuinely like wants to see the uprising of his people. Right. Whether that's you know, my peers or my other African people, other Canadians, Aboriginal people, like my people, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, it's very transparent to me that I stay true to that lyrical side of things, because that's who I am as a person, you know? Like, I want to spread a message where it's like, you could play this for a 7-year-old, you could play this for a 50-year-old. Yeah. And you said something about Fringe. I was actually the first local rapper at Fringe.
Really?
Yeah, last summer.
Last summer, nice.
Like busking. I'm not sure about like other things, but busking for sure. I was the first one.
You just rapping on the street?
Yeah, freestyling.
Did you have music?
So I would do like, I had like a 45-minute playlist of beats. Wow. And then I'd just freestyle over them for 45 minutes straight. Some days I'd bring drummers, like live musicians as well.
Wow. Yeah. That's crazy, dude.
One of the drummers, his name was Isaac. He just moved to Vancouver. Shout out, homie. And he was like, yo, playing with you. He's like, I didn't even really understand like that you could freestyle for that long until I played with you for 45 minutes straight, because that's how long the intervals were. Yeah. And he said to me, like, this was like months. Like, this was last weekend. I made sure I had to see him before he left, and he was like, yo, you're one of the people I have to see. Wow. And I'm like, that's so humbling, because like to me it's just like I'm doing what I love, you know. Yeah. And he's like, like out there I felt like I was playing with Common and Mos Def and stuff, because it's like, it's so like you're saying, it's very different for somebody to be freestyling nowadays, you know.
Oh yeah, very. Yeah. Especially like you mentioned, like with you know, there's a lot of these freestyles are not genuine, which is something that like has been carried on by great rappers through the years. Like Biggie would even go to a radio station and drop a written
freestyle.
Yeah, he'd drop a freestyle. He'd also drop a written over a beat. But it doesn't take away from your ability. But when you can come up with that shit on the fly, and it's funny how in a lot of other places, like even spending some time in Vegas, all downtown are people on the street. Just like if you rap, you just rap out there. Like if you dance, you just go out and dance. I don't know why that isn't more common here.
Yeah, for real, for real. So I mean, maybe the winter is a big part.
Well, and I was gonna touch on that. Do you feel like that has any effect on limitations towards our scene that have existed? Because I feel like now people are just pushing past it. The weather is pretty intense, man.
Yeah, it does. Like for shows, people were gonna want to see you regardless, come hell or high water, which is amazing. Like the support I get in the city is like, if I could get this in every city, like I've made it. I've more than made it. Like people in the city like love me, and it's just like, it's amazing. And like now I'm starting to reach out and like into other cities and develop that same type of following. But it definitely does, because I can't be busking like I did at Fringe like in the summer. I can't be doing that in the winter time. Yeah, I could, but people were like, they don't want to stand there and like watching this in -30.
No, they're just like rushing to get where they need to go.
And occasionally we'll toss you a coin, but in the summertime people are happier, I think, and like just you want to be out there. You know, they want to be outside, they want to enjoy it, but limitations are in the mind, you know, like so I think weather could be an excuse for people to not to work hard, but if I had to, like if there's like a Fringe festival in the winter, like guess I'm outside. You know?
Right,
yeah.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, it's true. I totally relate. It makes it easier to make an excuse, but if you have that drive, you're not going to make that excuse, you know, even if, you know, you're in BC and there's a fire. I mean, you're going to just,
spit fire. You know
yeah, spit some fire, cause a fire.
You know what I'm saying?
Do you see yourself staying in Edmonton, or do you want to relocate?
Oh, that's crazy, man. Ooh. First things first, like, I got to figure, I'm like at a crossroads right now. Like,
Okay.
I know for sure my life is music. Like I'm going to do that till the day I pass, for sure. But, like, I could go back to school right now, finish my degree. And, like, I'm getting, like, outside pressure in the sense of, like, like African families, get your education, you know what I'm saying?
Is it tough with that aspect?
Kind of. But my parents are warming up a bit more because of, like, they finally came out to a show. Finally.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It was for Vintage Simba release party, actually.
Oh, wow.
And, it was, I think, like, it couldn't have been any better. So I've been doing this for 8 years now, right? Mind you, the amount of times they could have came to a show over 8 years. That's like, that's a decent amount of time.
It's a good amount of time.
All right. And then the show they decided to was November of last year, 2019. And it was for Vintage Simba release party. And 200 people were there.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And, like, the first thing I did before, like, I started my set, I was like, yo, make some noise for my parents. And, like, yo, that was the loudest cheer they gave me that whole night, you know?
Wow.
And I was like, the fact that, like, it was for my parents, like, it was just, like, I just knew right then and there, like, okay, I'm going to have to give, like, the best show of my life.
Yeah.
And I honestly think it's up there. So, like, one of my best shows, even though it was, like, November. And in January, already some crazy show I just did, too, right? Like, with GZA.
Yeah,
which was insane. So, it's, like, it's just more, like, my ideal goal is to get booked, like, constantly. So, that way it's, like, I'm generating money off of my work. And it's different than just going to a job because it's like, yo, I've literally developed myself to the point where I can demand this certain amount of money or I can demand things, you know?
Yeah, you can. This is what I'm worth, and
take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. That's the thing, man.
For real.
Well, I love that, dude. I think it's really good that you're pushing like this, man, because you can tell you're hungry. What was it like opening for GZA? I can't ask about that.
Yo, for sure. That was the first time I actually opened for, like, a big artist.
Wow.
And it would be crazy for me to, like, open for a member of the Wu-Tang Clan. I didn't really grow up on them, but I did my research. Like, I'm familiar with Method Man, some of them, you know, like, for sure. But GZA was crazy because, like, he loves sciences. And, like, it just showed me that, like, real rap is still alive. And it was sold out. First time at Starlight Room. It was the first time for me at a festival. It was called Winter Eruption. Shout out to them. Thank you for having me. Bless up. But the craziest thing about it too was that I got a chance. I got, like, a small window to talk to him. Like, it was after his set. He was tired, man. He was just trying to go backstage, just trying to do his thing. But I was able to tell him that, like, funny how you asked me about mumble rap. So I was like, yo, I ain't, like, going to these mumble rappers in the sense of, like, the art, because, like, the art stems from storytelling, stems from actual verbal speaking rather than the beat and melodies, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not, like, throwing shade or anything, but that's just facts.
No, the art of rap is spoken.
It's spoken.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sure.
So I told him exactly that pretty much, and it says, like, thank you for showing me that real rap still exists, because 25 years later, to still fill out a big room, like 500 people, is like, if I could do that in my, like, when I'm 50 plus, like, what? Like,
people don't realize how light a lot of these shows are from guys who come out of that same time and guys who are more, you know, on paper more relevant than someone like GZA. They have less people at their shows, so it's people
like Ja Rule, like, apparently.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I've heard some things about that.
Yeah,
it's crazy
for real.
But you got to tell him that. What was his reaction?
He gave me the head nod, like young man, like black man to black man. You know, like when you walk by, so, like, I was like, after that, I went up to my homies, right, like, that were there too, like, other people that were in there. Actually, one of my good friends, Sebastian, he was doing the visuals. He goes by Subdiddy as well. And I looked at him. I'm like, bro, we're gonna meet GZA at the end of this night. And he's just like, we'll see, you know. And, like, there was no green room for, like, opening artists, which was kind of whack. But you got to each his own, right? But at the end of the show, I grabbed Sebastian. I'm like, yo, this is our moment.
Yeah.
He looked at me, he's like, say no more. We met him, and then Sebastian was like, this is crazy. Yeah. But the fact that we did that was just, like, putting things out there and having the confidence to do it. Some people could have been like, man, there's no green room, there's nothing. Like, it's all good. But I'm just like, yo, we deserve it. I mean, you know, like, we shared the stage with them. We brought our people out. Like, you know,
that's respect.
We spit our souls out. Like, you should have seen his visuals. They were insane.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I usually don't see that much at Starlight. So
yeah, for real, awesome. For real. I initially wanted to hire him to do my visuals for my set, and then he came up with the idea. He's like, yo, why don't I do this visuals for the entire thing? Wow. And then Starlight, the people running that festival, Winterruption, ended up hiring him, and I'm like,
damn.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm trying to bring up everyone with me, you know? And, like, and not to take credit away from their own thing, because everyone's bringing themselves up. But if I get opportunities, I'm going to bring my people with me, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
No, absolutely, man. That's the way to do it. Like, there's always... You need more things than people realize. Like, I just pulled up to the one show, and I ended up selling merch for a while because they just needed a merch person. It's just like... That's my way of trying to help, but they're trying to help me by giving me the opportunity to network, sell merch. It's like, give the right people the opportunities, and that's what I like about Edmonton right now. Like, people are very supportive. You mentioned that as well. I feel like a lot of people are under the impression that they won't be supported if they launch something. I don't think that's true.
For real.
You know,
that's very
I
true.
see you getting mad love. I get mad love. I see a lot of people, and I don't hear them getting really people hating on them.
For sure, for
sure.
You
know, so I applaud you, my man.
Appreciate that.
And everybody go check out the feature in the Gateway. Just dropped.
Written by Celine.
Share about this?
Yeah, absolutely. So my very good friend Celine, she's an activist in the city. You know, she's doing these spoken word poetry nights where she has amateurs or pros come through and they do their thing. She's been doing it for over a year now, and it's called the Zion.
Nice.
I think Zion Poetry. But yeah, they've been doing it for a while, and she's an artist herself. She wrote this article on me. Initially, it was supposed to be on Vintage Simba, but the editors were like, no, like, bring it out in February, and that way you can do it on Black History Month. And it's very important that people understand, like, yo, Black history is like, sure, it's more depicted to America, but Black history stems from Africa as well. You know, there's a lot of rich history that people don't really understand. Like, my family survived the 1994 genocide in Rwanda.
Wow.
You know, and like, that's where my love for people comes from, because, like, the atrocities they witnessed, like, it's something I'll never be able to describe or understand fully.
Yeah.
But what I can do with my life is help others respect each other, because, like, you wouldn't start a genocide if you had love and respect for another person. Honestly. For that neighbor, right? Love that neighbor, the golden rule, right? So that's one of my biggest things. Like, another thing about my family too, and like Black history, my parents have taught me and my siblings so much about, like, self-respect, self-love, and helping others. Like, first Saturday of every month, we go out and we feed homeless people.
Wow.
Yeah, and like, more and more I put it on my social media, more and more people want to come and help. And it's like, it's beautiful to see, but like, I have yet to see some friends come through. Like, some have made plans to, but like, still so far it's just a fam. But like, it's very, like, the love you get from people, like, at first, because we're doing it like for a year plus now, and like at first they were just like, oh man, like, you Black people are just here, you know, for your own people. I was like, what? Like,
they even judged you while you were giving food?
Yeah, for real.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. It's like, do you want free food?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I want free food. I'm
you know? So, and now last month, it should, like, I wish I was recording, but like, we're just so focused on giving food that it just happened to, like, you know, it was like for our ears and eyes only kind of thing. It was like, they were more loving, like, thank you so much, like, you're doing God's work, like,
wow.
Like, sometimes they're like, yo, you don't understand, this is my first meal. I don't know when my first meal of the day was. Like, that type of stuff just takes you down to, like, just down to earth so much. It's like, yo, I'm complaining about little things when I shouldn't be, you know?
Yeah, seriously.
I got a roof over my head. I got food. Like, I got my art. I got a support system. I got amazing friends. I got, like, an amazing manager, amazing team. Like, people like yourself who are trying to work with me. It's just, like, I mean, I can't complain, you know? If anything, I should just work harder and help more people, you know? There's a saying I want you to know. I don't know if you heard it, but I want you to know it's a rising tide brings up all the ships. Yeah.
I like that. I haven't heard that before.
Yeah, I haven't heard it too. I don't know who told me it, but I was like, damn, I'm going to have to hold that one down.
That's
and it's
dope.
like, and like, the way I see it, I could be a rising tide myself. I could be bringing everyone up, or I could be a a ship on the tide. Either way, I'm going up, you know?
Right,
right. But
that's powerful, dude.
Right? It is. And it's like us right now linking up. Like, we're rising together now, you know?
Hell
'Cause
yeah.
your fan base, people I've never heard of, you know? Or likewise, people are going to be like, who's this guy? Artists on my page are going to be like, yo, let me holla at this, you know? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
or like,
exactly.
Or videographers, whoever the case may be.
Who filmed this fucking mic?
Yeah,
you know
right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
gonna need this guy's services.
Exactly. And it's beautiful to see. There's nothing more like amazing to see. It's like people wanting to work. 'Cause I remember when people would shine away, or people would be like, you know, like it wouldn't give me the time of day. And what the one thing that stands out, 'cause we were talking about like earlier, what artists need to do to make it. There's no like blueprint. There's no significant way to make it. But the one thing that's consistent is that every successful person never quit.
Yeah,
you know, I've had times where I'm like, man, like literally, like at McEwen, I'd be like just like studying for a midterm, and I could like look out the window, like in like the 105 Street building, I could see Rogers Arena. It's like, man, I one day want to perform there. Am I crazy? Am I crazy studying for this midterm? I don't give two flying about, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like trying to be a student, but also trying to be this mega artist. It's just like, it was like, man, I should like take it in. Am I really trying to make it? Like, am I gonna make it? But those
plays games with the head.
Yeah, those self-defeating thoughts. Like when you switch those out with hard work and like faith in self, faith in God, faith in your team, your city, your music, whatever the case may be, you will prosper. You know.
That's ascension right there. You're off to the races if you got that.
For real. How about yourself though? Like, so you're saying you started out 10 years ago with Kiss?
Yeah, 10 years ago,
that's
man.
That's insane.
It's been a long time, and I just this has been a really interesting ride. A lot of things have happened that I never thought would or would have never expected. And it just sort of took on a life of its own. It's just at the end of the day, podcasting isn't my end goal, but it's a great way to connect with people and to sort of keep a buzz around who I am instead of coming into an industry and having it be like, well, who's this guy?
Yeah, like you know, a portfolio. You're building a portfolio. Yeah,
it's like at least I can show people what I can do on camera. Yeah, so
that's awesome.
But yeah, man, it's been a lot of fun and connecting with people like yourself, and just I love watching it lead to other business things and lead to other things from just a conversation, and also being able to go back and say, hey, I'm working with this guy. Here's when we first met. It's on tape. The first time we ever talked. That's a trip. I love that.
That's it. That is a crazy trip. Funny you say that, because like I study artists, like you're saying, like which tools I take from these artists. I study their interviews, like insanely. Like there's Kendrick Lamar interviews from like 2009, 2010. I still watch to this day, and it's like, yo, this dude didn't know he was gonna be Kendrick Lamar, you know, but he knew it, you know.
Yeah,
like,
he had that drive.
Yeah, he had the drive. He had the mindset. He had the music. Same with J. Cole. Big Sean. I watched Tupac interviews. Nipsey. I was a Nipsey fan before he passed, and all I would do is watch his interviews, because that dude was a wizard, man. He's like crazy.
I feel so bad that like I was aware of his music. I enjoyed a small amount of it. I feel bad that it took him dying for me to listen to his full tapes. But I waited a long time because I didn't want to be. When they released Nipsey Hussle streams up 5 million, I did not want to be one of those 5. I wanted to at least wait till the wave.
Yeah.
But prolific guy, man.
Oh my goodness, bro. Everything he said on record came to life, or was true.
Right? Ridiculous. I saw this in Drake's comments, actually. They said, someone said, imagine having receipts for every bar. Because his bars are so true. I'm like, it's interesting. Like, a receipt for every bar. When every word is true. I suggest going back. I don't know if you've seen it. There's a Drake interview that he did when he was just fresh off Degrassi. And he's sitting in his house in Toronto in his mom's house in his socks. Yeah. They're just sitting there in their socks doing an interview. Yeah. And
he shows them around the house, right?
I've seen that one too. This is a different one. They're just sitting. Okay. And it's just it's crazy. Just like you say with Kendrick and these guys, like they knew they could be this guy if they kept pushing.
For sure.
It's crazy to watch.
Definitely. Even Kanye West, because he had to go through so much adversity. We talking about the underdog mentality. He had been turned down by so many different labels, and the deal with Rockefeller was in the air for so long that he didn't know if he had a deal. You know?
Yeah, seriously. And he's getting laughed at for rapping.
Yeah, because he's a producer. Guy. Yeah, exactly. And like, how much adversity he had gone through and become this like mega star, like with College Dropout, Late Registration, it just goes to show like you never quit and all those albums. But one thing too, like Kobe Bryant, man, like he was actually overlooked. Like he came fresh out of high school, and his coach didn't play him because he was a teenager, right? Where he's like
crazy.
So like the first 2-3 years, he didn't get too much playing time,
man.
And like he had the coach had left, and I think they got Phil Jackson or something. But then when his coach left, he went back to face him. Like he was coaching a different team, but Kobe I think dropped like 40 or something like that on him, like on that team. And then he looked at me, he's like, "That's for not playing me." And he's like, "Dude, that was like 3 years ago." But like, you know what I mean? Like things like that stay with me, and like stay with him, right? So it's like whenever I see those like first promoters that like would put through those shows and like they see me now, it's just like I don't hold a grudge, but I also do remember like the way they treated me.
Yeah.
And like now I'm successful on my own, throwing my own shows and stuff. It's like I don't need y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Seriously, man. No, it's a powerful feeling. I had this weird experience where I was trying to, and I'm not gonna name them, but I was trying to break in with this promoting company here that puts on a lot of big shows, and I said I want to do video, I want to do interviews, photo, and they would constantly blow me off for years. And I landed this interview with a rapper, and I was brought into the room and introduced to everybody, and it was all the people that had denied me, except I didn't go through them to get in that room. I got in that room myself. So it was like...
I got FU to them, right?
Yeah. It was just like, this dude never gave up when I told him to fuck off, and he got himself to where I'm at. So it's like... How did
they treat you after that? Because that's also a big thing too, right?
Yeah, well, it was a weird one, but it was sort of just I got enough respect, but it solidified them in my mind, and now they're hitting me up on like video that I'm making, and they're saying like nice, and they're like retweeting it and shit, and I'm like, this is a dream come true because I've been trying to get their attention. But I think this is good for people to remember. If you're not getting hit up by the people you want, you might have some more work to do. My videos were not up to par for these promoters. That's why they didn't want to hire me. I realize that now. You know what I mean? So that's a tip to people. You might not be on their radar because you might not be ready yet.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And just like you're saying, you've heard your music evolve so much through the years. And I think everybody who puts in work, you can see that evolution. You know? So,
and also like content too. Like I know like the evolution is like right here, but like let's get it to like up here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
Let's get it to a legendary level.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, elevation, man. I think that's a good theme for this podcast.
Ooh, that's fire.
Bringing each other up.
For real. Do you got a word for me?
Hey man, I would love to hear you freestyle.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
What you got?
Let me go with lunch. Shout out lunch.
Shout out lunch. First of all, you know what I'm saying? My homegirls, they killed it, you know? Go show support to local artists, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's fashion people, blogs, artists, videographers, photographers, you know? Anybody that's hungry, you know what I'm saying? Musicians.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah, so lunch it is. All right. Sure you want to go on a lunch date. I know she can't wait, but what's on the plate? I already know. I can't really say. It's the punani. Hey, I'm about to go and get. It's lunch. It's brunch. I don't even know. I just want some. Gotta keep going. It's crunch like the time. Still, I gotta shine with every single rhyme. Yeah, I'm always on time. Never wait in line when I gotta go and eat. Bon appetit. She wanna know what's happening like the tea. But Ntwali, you say it without the tea. So, shorty, please believe me. When you catch me on your TV, I'll be out of this world like I'm E.T. But I gotta go and get a nice motherfucking meal. Hold up, she want the beef. I say like Shaquille O'Neal, you can't get it like it's Kobe beef. Believe me, I got this shit, my name up in these streets. But I gotta say one more time, middle finger to industry. And I'm just trying to get the shit, you know where I be. Having lunch with a shorty for brunch. I said that again, but that's in the AM. Now she chilling in my DMs. Ooh, shit, what am I saying? Getting in the deep end. Shallow bitches can't swim. I'm out this bitch.
Damn, man.
Hey.
That's impressive, dude.
Appreciate that, yo.
That's
respect.
crazy, man. Ntwali, thank you so much.
I appreciate that.
Major respect, man.
Blessings.
What's your social media, real quick? Let 'em know.
It's on Instagram, the.Ntwali, Ntwali, one hell of a guy. On Facebook, just look up Ntwali, Ntwali as well. You can catch me on Spotify or Apple Music, Ntwali. Look up Vintage Simba. I just dropped a couple months ago, November. Still doing really well. I appreciate it. You can also find me on SoundCloud as well, Ntwali, and YouTube. Yeah, just be on the lookout for new music, more announcements. And I think I should let them know this too. I'm going to be touring Canada, actually, at the end of the month. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, so I'm going to be going to Calgary, Toronto, Windsor, Ontario, Montreal is in the air, Vancouver's in the air, but 3 dates. And I got one in Edmonton as well. Couple more Black History Month performances. And, you know, just stay tuned. Let's keep growing. Let's keep elevating. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, man.
My G.
One love. Thank you.